So it's easy to get overwhelmed by the range of music theory out there, and a lot of times music can be played without knowing any music theory at all. But interestingly, there are some basics worth knowing. Now, a quick look at music theory. We start with the chromatic scale, that is to say the range of 12 notes that exist between the 2 points of an octave. And by dropping some of those notes, we can actually make the major scales. So let's look at the chromatic scale. That's our 12 notes, and then we came back to the C. So we start to C, come up, and then finish on the C again. But if we just count back, skipping a few notes, we can make our major scale. And moving forward. Now this is really just 4 notes repeated, 2 patterns of 4 notes. We skip it out. So we can also play the major scale on many strings. That was the major scale on 1 string. If we do the same thing on 2 strings, exact same pattern, we just shifted it down 1 string. We can also do some more recognizable versions. There it is over 3 strings. And over 4 strings. And so that's our major scale over 4 strings. Now, of course, we can play it on as many strings as we want to. We can move it up and down the neck without any problems. But we can also drop another set of notes, go from our 7-note scale, or 8 notes if we include the octave, down to 5 notes. That makes our pentatonic. And so when we want to play the pentatonic, we can just start on the C note. We can play it in the first position as. So of course we can drop to 3 notes as well, and that makes a triad. And triads are made from just 3 notes that are part of the scale. And if we start on the note C, we can make the triads with the 3rd and the 5th. C triad, we can make a G triad, C triad. Now this is a little awkward to play each chord or each note in succession, so we can come here. And between our 2nd and 4th strings, that's our 1st or C. There's our F, and that's our G. And it's going to be the note that's sounded on the 3rd string that gives us our actual chord value or triad value. Now triads add a lot to the sound of a guitar, and playing them between the 2nd and 4th string is a very common thing. And we can even make these chords or these triads go to minors. So if we take our C as a major triad, we can put it into the form to make a minor chord. We can make the F minor, and we can make the G minor. Back to major. Now, chords come directly from triads. All we do is make all the strings sound in one of the notes of the 3 notes of the triad. So, for instance, this is our C. We can make a C here. And if we want to bring the rest of the strings in, we can make the B string into a C. And the E is part of the triad. The C is a C, E, and G notes. And chords are made directly from triads by simply fretting those strings that aren't part of the triad itself into one of the other notes, one of the notes of the triad. So for instance, our C That's a C, E, and a G note. We can find a C, E, and a G here. And if we wanted to include the B string, we can fret the B string on the first fret, making a C. And now we have our regular C chord. Same thing for G. And everybody's happy. Now, if we wanted to move into a different key, we were playing this, of course, in C. All we would do is start our chromatic scale from a different note. So our C chromatic, we could just as easily have an F chromatic. And we could do the exact same exercise, or any other string starting from any note we wanted to. This is pretty easy, right? That's our basics of music theory. And it really is a great way of developing a language to talk with other musicians about what we're trying to play, rather than just providing the sounds that we were making. Hope you found this interesting. Look forward to talking to you next time.